Gemini, it's your March 2020 reading. If you're a Gemini sun, rising or moon, it may well resonate for you. It is a general reading. If you're enjoying it, please do go ahead, subscribe to the channel, make sure you drop me a like or a comment. And if you would like to connect with me, you can find all of the ways to do that over on my website, romywyser.com. Okay, Gemini, let's see what the conversation for March is for you. Now we're in Mercury retrograde in Pisces, which is 10th house for you. Of course, Mercury being your ruler. I think it can be a little bit challenging for Geminis when we're in these water signs with retrograde. They can make you really have to dive deep. And with that very Piscean energy, it takes us deep into our subconscious. We also have Venus moving into Taurus on the 5th, which is in your 12th house. So your psychic senses, your intuitive senses are going to be powerfully activated, but there's also, I think at times, the capacity to really kind of lose yourself and sometimes lose perspective on things. So I think this is going to be an interesting month of you having those conversations that are very deep and meaningful. We open up with the King of Cups, so I think the energy that he brings through is powerful, it's commanding, and it is taking you to those parts of your life that maybe you don't necessarily want to deal with or to face up to. But you know, we're in that kind of revisiting, reassessment energy while we're in retrograde. And it's important that you deal with this. Now, one of the major aspects that we have happening this month is that Saturn is going to be coming out of Capricorn, which has been working through your 8th house, and it's been a challenge, right? It's really turned you inside out. It's lifting, moving into Aquarius, but when we have these shifts, it can be quite unsettling as the planets move. And so I do feel that through this month, you're going to be given a kind of sharp reminder of all of the lessons, if you like, that you were learning and what you've learned about yourself and how you've applied, how you've changed perhaps the areas that you have still tried to shy away or avoid. And I think that the King of Cups is coming in as a sort of no nonsense, strong, compassionate but very firm voice that says, you know, we're not going to skip it this time. We're going to do the work. We're going to make the change. We're going to face this and we're going to make the adjustment, because if we don't, it's going to be a lot more painful moving forward with any patterns that get revisited. So I like the fact that he's showing up in this kind of water energy to echo the fact that, you know, the Pisces season is about flow, it's about fluidity, it's about forward movement, it's about being able to really connect in deeply with ourselves and with others. I feel like if you're having important conversations, even with that retrograde, we have Mars in Capricorn, so there is a sense of like being able to do the work and kind of express what we need to in a kind and compassionate way. I think that when we move into the mid-month and we hit the full moon in Virgo on the 9th, which activates your 4th house, Gemini, you are going to perhaps come up against some conversations, some energies that are going to feel like they are triggering your sense of safety, okay? So that could be from an internal perspective, your emotional safety, or it could be something connected to family, to home, to your work environment, all of which the 4th house is connected to. We have Page of Pentacles coming in, so there is an offer being presented to you. Perhaps it's coming in from this King of Cups, water sign, could be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. I do feel that the offer that comes forward is, what I'm going to say is, it may feel like it isn't much at this moment in time, but it has great potential. And this is what I really feel is important for you to acknowledge through this month of March, Gemini, as we're in this really incredibly powerful shift month, and the equinox that's coming in on the 20th as the sun moves into Aries is going to give us the opportunity to have a major rebalance and reshift and a reprioritization. And you're being invited to decide which direction you're moving towards. and it might not all land on your lap straight away. It might not be given in that golden promise that you wanted or expected, but actually this feels a little bit more real. It feels a little bit more tangible. And if you're prepared to do the work, and if you're prepared to see the potential in something, then I think that you have got very rich, very fertile soil through this month of March to start to see things being planted and actually get a really strong sense of how they could come together. You know, when Saturn moves into Aquarius, you're going to start to get an idea of the themes that you're going to be working with, but certainly in ninth house for you, that visionary house of higher learning, of expansion, it's going to be asking you to keep the faith. It's going to be saying to you, we can fulfill the potential of the bigger vision, the hopes and dreams that you have, but we also have to remember that we need to do the work. We have Star card coming in, a beautiful sense of restoration and healing that I think is going to be welcomed by you. And I think that this almost celestial kind of energy that the star is bringing in is a nod to inviting you really to sit in this retrograde and connect in at a deeper level with yourself and take the time that you need, Gemini. I don't think that you have to prove anything to anybody this month. I don't think that you have to shout loudly. I think it's a very quiet time to just almost like recalibrate and call back in any energy that's felt scattered, and then send it back out in the direction that you want it to go. Star energy is beautiful for reminding you about what the bigger picture is, reminding you that there's a sense of renewal and hope and optimism that you can feel. And I think as soon as we tip into Aries season, and even when Mercury moves direct in Pisces, you're going to start to think about the art of the possible again for you, Gemini. So perhaps where you have felt incredibly restricted or had a sense of shackles being around you in some area, they're shown to be lifting. They're shown to start to present themselves in a way that you can feel, all right, we're finally starting to feel lighter. We can see the wood for the trees here a little bit. Now, it could be an Aquarius that you also have going on with something in your life at the moment. Perhaps there's a conversation connected to this offer. Perhaps this is linking back powerfully into Aquarius season, so we might be revisiting something that's been discussed already, and through retrograde there's now the opportunity to perhaps make refinements or adjustments. 8 of Wands coming in I really like for you, because I think this is the kind of forward motion that you're looking for, particularly as we come into Aries season. I think when we hit that new moon Aries on the 24th, which is your 11th house, so it's all about that kind of social connection, the way that you're linking into other people, how you're harnessing technology to work for you, not against you, which is going to be welcomed after you've been through retrograde, I'm sure. But you know, all the way through this month, I think you're going to have a strong emphasis on figuring out what it is that you want and being absolutely undeterred in the kind of the path that you want to carve out to move forward. And I feel that those of you that may have been experiencing some challenges in and around relationships, even though I still feel there's a continuation of that happening through this month of March, I think there's more conversations to come, there's more to be discussed. And you know, even if there's been an offer put on the table in terms of how do we figure this out, you know, how do we overcome this, how do we work around this, even if it's not, as I said, exactly what you're looking for, there is hope connected to that. And again, this equinox energy I feel coming in on the 20th is going to illuminate for you how you can restore balance in yourself. And that's the most important thing, Gemini. I think what you're being asked this month is to almost take your focus away from what anyone else is doing, what's going on around you in any other capacity, because I'm going to be honest, I feel there's going to be a little bit of chaos around you this month of March, Gemini. Just intuitively, I feel that, you know, if you're not careful, you could get really dragged into some very messy situations. And there is this sense of just wanting to keep yourself a little bit guarded, a little bit protected. So I quite like Seven of Pentacles coming through for you right in the center of your reading as a reminder to say, just keep focused on what is important in your world right now, Gemini. What do you need to do? And even if it does involve other people, you can't control what they're up to, what they're thinking, what actions they choose to take or not take through this month. And it really isn't your business in many ways. What this is about is you, from a spiritual perspective, keeping your own sense of integrity, linking in with your heart energy, knowing that where you have put the time and energy in, you are set to see the rewards of that, and the fruition will come, but you have to keep focused on the blessings that are coming your way. You have to open up to the direction of energy that's firmly coming to your door, not to anybody else's. This is not a time to look around and think, well, they have this, or they've worked less than me and have achieved that, or you know, this person has a more perfect relationship. It's I honestly just don't want you to be caught up in any way with worrying about what anyone else is doing this month, because I just think it's got the capacity to derail you and almost, like, through this retrograde, kind of make you a little bit paranoid even, or unsure of yourself, or start to doubt your path or your way of thinking or who you are. So you know, be reminded that that King of Cups can come in a real positive to just keep you anchored, but still in the flow, and strong in terms of your ambition on what you want to achieve for yourself. So whatever that goal is, you know, whether it's about improving, you know, your standard of you know, well-being, your self-care, you know, how you're wanting to show up in your career or your work, even if you're wanting to improve relationships, there's a little bit of inner resolve and inner fight and inner determination, and I feel that that's the thing that's going to keep you focused. Here's the chaos that I talked about, Five of Wands energy coming in. Could be some quarrels or some fights that are going to start to break out around you this month. What's interesting, Gemini, is I feel that you could be right at the center of it but not involved in it. So I'm not sure how that will play out, but just bear that in mind. I think for some of you, you're literally going to be at the center of it but not necessarily involved in it. So I don't see you being the one starting this. I just feel that you are going to witness some behaviors coming up to the surface. And I think this happened powerfully through the month of February, where we saw a lot of stuff coming up to be cleared, and it did feel really murky, you know, and I think there's still a kind of playing out of that energy as we come into March, but we have much brighter, lighter energies as we hit mid-month through to the end of the month. But just be aware of what's not worth your time or energy. And I think that the guidance here is to just keep a very quiet counsel. Just hold your energy strong, keep very grounded, keep focused on your path, your healing, reminding yourself that if things start to move very quickly, or if you do feel overwhelmed, that you always have the opportunity to just step to the side and take a moment, okay? Ten of Cups coming in is really beautiful for me, because I think it's the validation that you're going to be looking for with something, Gemini, okay? So if you have been left feeling very doubtful or uncertain about a situation, a person, or something that's happening in your life through this month, and I do feel that you know, you may well come up against some really unexpected twists through March, okay? But I'm going to say to you that the outcome, or some kind of sign that is going to come through very powerfully, is going to show you that you're on the right track, that the way that you've been thinking, or what you're considering, or what you're looking for is within reach. I definitely feel that there's some sense of validation coming towards you. Now, for some of you, perhaps, you know, this is connected to this King of Cups energy. There's a sense of a lot of communication coming through, and perhaps even the promise of, you know, something that feels much sweeter than what you've been offered or what you've experienced up to this point. I'm going to say to you, there's a reminder that through retrograde, you know, with that slightly hazy energy, again, not to sort of put all of your hopes or expectations
onto another person. This is very much about making sure that you're doing your inner work, because I kind of want to say that anyone that's making too big of promises through this month of March, as we're in such a clearing period and retrograde, I kind of want to just revisit again and you know, do the final checks and balances once more. Don't get me wrong though, I definitely think there's something coming in that you're going to be feeling really positive about. I just don't want you to attach to it and make it the sole reason that you are allowing yourself to kind of shirk any inner work that needs your attention this month. That's what I want to say, okay? But card of the Lovers, card of Gemini, of course, coming out. Love to see that in your reading for March, Gemini. I think that you are going to start to step into your power. It's a really wonderful year ahead in terms of the energetic activity. Big focus on Gemini coming through as well. You know, this absolutely could be connected to relationships, may even be partnerships in business here we see taking place as well. So you might be considering different options. There could well be a choice being presented to you from a work perspective. Again, I'm going to say take the time, don't feel rushed. If you are feeling in any way pressured, it's time to step out of that energy, because this is important. The choices and decisions that you're making in this month of March, I feel, are really significant for the rest of this year, Gemini. So you want to get this right, okay? You may well find that there is a sense of you, to say almost like ruffling feathers, but in a good way. So maybe people are becoming more aware of you. Maybe people are looking towards you. Again, I just want to say you just keep focused on what is important and don't lose track. And that might in essence mean that you need to kind of step back and focus some time and energy on the foundations of something, on doing the work behind the scenes. You may find that, you know, you're particularly revisiting how to make things flow more easily in your life, in your work, in your business. I think there's an awful lot of adjustments being made to help you and almost kind of use that as a more stable platform with which to springboard off from as we move into these spring months, which I think are going to be incredibly busy for you, Gemini. So Four of Cups energy is reminding you not to get too despondent if the real matter of the heart, if the thing that's really gnawing at you, if the thing that's really on your mind every morning that you wake up has not been resolved, has not shown itself to be worthy of what you needed it to be by this point in time. Be aware that things are still unseen. In Pisces season, we're dealing with that unseen quality. We're being asked to surrender. We're being asked to keep the faith. We're being asked to feel our way forward and intuitively look at things beneath the surface, not to just see things for what they are, but go deeper and really ask our spiritual center what it means on our pathway just now. And that's where I feel you're going to unlock an awful lot of the answers to the questions that still feel like they're burning in your mind a little bit. But I do love the very grounded quality that you have coming in the center of the reading. I think that's really going to support you if you're still trying to navigate your way through some tough emotional stuff that might be going on in your world, Gemini. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pull us some oracle cards, see how these reflect your main reading. Okay, space clearing, beautiful. And, you know, particularly around that full moon in Virgo with the 4th house, I do think some of you will be really thinking about your environmental foundations, the space that you're moving in. Does it support you? Do you feel free, or are you feeling heavy or restrictive? You know, this is about clearing out the old emotional attachments so you can invite in that beautiful creative energy. You know, the signaling of that equinox is saying it's time to release, it's time to let go, and allow the opportunity to see what potential other things have to offer in your life. You know, Gemini, if there have been things that you have been trying and they are not working, March is the month that you are going to draw the line and say, okay, do you know what? I need to try a different approach, or I need to try something different altogether. And I think that that's when you're going to start to get a really strong breakthrough, and perhaps quicker than you expect as well. Okay, let the feminine lead the way. Okay, so tapping into that divine feminine energy, again, of course, in Pisces season, it is all about how can we allow the heart to lead the conversation. And that doesn't mean that you cast aside all practicalities, you know, because I think the retrograde is, you know, affording you the time to make the necessary adjustments in your foundations. But then ultimately you have to realize that where you're putting your time and energy has to feel like it's leading somewhere. It has to feel like it's helping you to grow. It has to feel expansive and open. It has to feel enriching and inspiring and alive. And I think that if you're bumping up against things that don't, relationships, things that you're working on, environments that you're moving in, it's gonna feel almost oppressive this month, and your need to, you know, allow that beautiful, restless, kind of butterfly energy to just break free is gonna be the voice that's really calling powerfully through March for you. I love the colors of this. It kind of links for me very much into that kind of Aries season with the warmth and the fire, but also I feel is linking in powerfully to that Page of Pentacles, which is talking to me about you opening up to learn something new, and perhaps a bit of a surprise coming around. You know, I think that there's something that perhaps hasn't been on your radar, and again, Four of Cups showing me that you could well be finding yourself actually moving in a completely different direction than what you may have anticipated as you began this year. But just remember, with Saturn moving, it is going to feel a little bit unsettling. I do think that you are going to be asked to be incredibly compassionate with yourself. You've got New Moon in Aquarius, bring love into the situation. And I think that that love is about loving yourself through any process of uncomfortable shedding, of realization that perhaps you're not as far as you thought you were on that path of inner growth, or perhaps you're not as far as you thought you were in making the changes, you know, in letting old habits or thought forms go. But again, the New Moon in Aquarius is helping you to think differently. So it's a beautiful burst of new energy coming through. And, you know, for me, it is about a time when, you know, Saturn is moving into Aquarius, okay? So we have all of that ninth house. It's going to be very much with you over the next couple of years as you work through that transit, supporting you to really find your purpose, you know, find that big picture part of your life that says, here's where I'm meant to be, here's where it feels like home, here's where my heart gets illuminated and I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing, and I'm on this quest, and it absolutely is where I feel most alive and liberated. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and pull some clarifying cards, Gemini. Thank you so much for tuning in to your reading for March. If you'd like to join me for the extended, we will continue this conversation, see what additional messages are coming through for the next 20 minutes or so. You can find a link in the description box below. So let's go ahead, clarify the King of Cups with the Empress. Beautiful. A nod to that Venus moving into Taurus on the 5th in that 12th house. King of Pentacles is coming up with Page of Pentacles. Yeah, I really feel there's going to be a strong emphasis around your security this month of March. You will be challenged on it, Gemini. You're going to be fine though. You're going to rise strong. Okay, the Moon. Yeah. Card of Pisces. That King of Pentacles could be an earth sign that you're dealing with. Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Six of Wands coming through with the Star. What is that burning ambition? that real dream that you're holding on to. Don't let it go. Okay, Eight of Wands coming through with the card of Justice. So it could be a Libra energy, but again, for me, this is about bringing in the balance, equinox, things changing, karmic justice coming in and happening, a big turnaround, moving quickly, having to move quickly. Card of the Devil, okay, making sure that you don't get pulled back, you know, very Capricorn, Saturn in Capricorn. So you're going to have the opportunity to take a different path. Nine of Swords coming in with Seven of Pentacles. You can't let your fears hold you back. I think there's going to be a little bit of uncertainty. Ten of Swords, okay, a little bit of uncertainty for you as you realize that everything's changed. And even though you might have wanted everything to change, when it actually happens, I think it's going to feel, Ace of Wands, yeah, it's going to feel a little bit unnerving, but you're going to be fine. Absolutely. Five of Wands bringing in the card of the Magician. Love that for you. Okay, Ace of Swords with the Ten of Cups. Time to be truthful with yourself. Temperance. More balance coming through. Needing moderation somewhere in your life. Card of the Lovers with the Hierophant. Okay, could be a Taurus energy that we're dealing with, but also for me, your spiritual learning, you know, that's happening through this month of March is really profound, Gemini. Okay, Four of Cups bringing in Four of Swords. Space clearing, Seven of Wands. You're going to have to be courageous and really disciplined and making sure that you allow for that space to come through. Seven of Swords with Lead the Feminine. That'll be interesting to see what's coming out with that in more detail. And Death coming through with the New Moon in Aquarius. Okay, I'm going to pull two further cards, and what I'm going to say about this, Gemini, is if you have a very specific question that you are looking to be answered, whatever area it is about, we're going to cover that in the extended. I'm just going to go ahead and pull a couple of cards for it though. So whatever the question you have, these two cards are going to give us a direct answer connected to it. Okay, thank you so much for joining me. I wish you blessings for the month of March. Be truthful and honest with yourself, deeply compassionate. Don't get involved in anybody else's drama. Keep really focused on what your own priorities are. You're going to make amazing progress, profound progress this month, Gemini. Thank you for tuning in. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you haven't already, make sure you drop me a like and a comment, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye for now.